Welcome to the Unmistakably Magic podcast. Here's the news recorded October 19th, 2017.
Some highlights include new celebrities hosting the Candlelight Processional, new Disney expansions, and dogs are now allowed at Disney World?
What?
Let's jump right in.
All right.
Well, kicking off the news this week. Did you like that transition?
Did like that
Pretty smooth.
Much better.
It took me forever to get it down. But kicking off the news this week, Disney World has announced the entire list of celebrity hosts for the Candlelight Processional at Epcot this year. The list includes many veterans, including Whoopi Goldberg, Jodie Benson, and, of course, Neil Patrick Harris, as well as some newcomers like Lori Hernandez, Pat Sajak. Sajak.
He's the host of Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell, to name a few. Head over to the Walt Disney World website for a full list of performers. www.www.com. I think it's really cool that they always bring in new celebrities every year.
New celebrities, and then it's also fun the ones like Neil Patrick Harris has been doing it.
He's been doing it for forever. Yeah. He thoroughly enjoys it.
I think Whoopi does too.
Yeah.
I've watched some videos of her doing it.
Yeah. Well, from January 11th through March 19th, guests visiting the Tokyo Disney Resort will be able to have a little extra Pixar playtime. Haha, because the event's called Pixar Playtime.
Oh.
Hey, the event will take place at Tokyo Disney Sea and will feature Pixar character meet and greets, games, and more. Some gaming booths will offer challenges for all guests and will include the house from Up, the kitchen from Ratatouille, and a pit stop from Cars. Woody, Buzz, Jesse, Mike, Sully, Carl, Russell, Remy, and many, many more will all be greeting guests. Plus, Remy will perform a culinary show, and Lightning McQueen will be meeting guests over at the American waterfront.
This sounds fun.
Yeah. I wonder if this is kind of a preview of what we will be getting over at DCA with Pixar Pier.
True, and even
Or kind of a
Toy
test
Story
of it.
Land a little. This is a lot of other Pixar characters, but maybe some Toy Story Land preview too.
Possibly.
I don't know.
I think this is pretty confident this might be a little play test. Play test for the Pixar Piers, some Pixar Pier ideas.
Jesus.
Hey, I'm killing it with the puns today.
Yes, you are.
Not just now,
Killing
like
me with the puns.
this
Yes, you
entire day I've been crushing it with puns. So I'm excited to see what these booths look like and what kind of games they incorporate with them, because that will be a pretty good indicator of what the games of
Pixar
Paradise Pier will turn into when
Yeah.
it's Pixar Pier.
Yeah. Good point. I didn't think of that.
So stay tuned and
Yeah.
figure out. Well, some Disney World resorts are now allowing dogs to stay with their families. Dogs are only allowed at select resorts and will cost you an additional cleaning fee per night. Art of Animation, Fort Wilderness, and Port Orleans will cost you an additional $50, and Yacht Club will cost $75 per night.
Ish.
And a maximum of 2 dogs per room is allowed, and each room will have access to pet walkways and relief areas.
They must suspend that during the hurricane
I bet
because
they
there
do.
were a lot of dogs there.
I would imagine
for a
they
while.
do. I would be astounded if they
Yeah.
didn't. This is really cool. I think it's very steep because at the best quote-unquote value per dog,
Yeah.
it's $25 per dog
Just kind of.
to hang out with you in a hotel room. And I don't think they're allowed in the park still.
I don't think so.
Unless they're service dogs.
Yeah.
So
So you're bringing them to then leave them there all day.
to put in a kennel
Kinda
or
seems
something.
odd, yeah. Which they do have on site.
They do have on-site kennels, yeah.
Yeah. On property, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, it I don't know. It just never makes any sense to me why anybody would really bring their dogs on a theme park-oriented vacation.
People bring their dogs a lot of places.
Yeah, but you're at a
I know.
theme park.
I'm not saying there's logic to it. I'm just saying that people bring their dogs a lot of places.
I mean, I love my dog as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to be bringing them to a theme park
I know.
where I'm riding roller coasters all
I'm
day.
paying an extra $50 a night for him.
Yeah.
Forget that.
I'll pawn him off on you.
No way, dude.
I'll paw him off on you.
Wow.
This is such a pun-filled episode.
Apparently. for somebody.
Well, Disney recently broke ground on Hong Kong Disneyland's massive expansion. The new expansion will bring 2 new lands to the park, one themed after Marvel and the other after Frozen, as well as a new entertainment venue in Adventureland, plus an updated castle. The new additions will be popping up between now and 2023, with a new Moana show starting it all off next year.
So they're actually going to get a reasonably sized castle?
Yeah.
Instead of the
dinky Disneyland castle.
Which would, if in Disneyland it works, kind of, because there's not a backdrop to show you how dinky it is, but in Hong Kong it's like
you got mountains behind.
You got mountains behind that look huge compared, and you know they're not that huge, but they just the
It's
castle
so
looks
funny.
ridiculous.
And I don't know. I know that the castles are the same size. Like they are. The Hong Kong Disneyland is an exact replica of the Disneyland castle. However, when like Nathan was on the show, I was talking with him about it, and he was saying, no, the Hong Kong Disneyland castle is much smaller than the Disneyland castle.
Because it
like,
seems so much smaller.
It's not. It's literally the same size.
I remember arguing that with him.
I do think, though, that the new castle, I think it's a celebration of all princesses or the Frozen princesses.
Oh, like an Arendelle
One of the
castle.
two, yeah. So we might
Interesting.
see that be like the whole Frozen land, kind of fantasy land, turn into Arendelle with that castle going into there.
Instead of like the more Germanic kind of generic theme that it is usually.
That's one of the rumors floating around, because we don't know really anything
They said
about the Frozen
what's
land.
coming, but they don't know where it's going to be.
Like they haven't announced any of it. They've broken ground. The Marvel land is kind of taken over Tomorrowland. That's confirmed with the Iron Man experience opening up earlier this year or last year.
This year?
I think it was this
Soon,
year, last year.
I don't know.
Sometime soon-ish.
Sometime that we talked about it.
Yeah. So I think that's Marvel's taken over Tomorrowland, and then I would assume Frozen would be taking over Fantasyland, or at least part of it.
I'd imagine.
Because that's where it belongs, and not over in an experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
Get over it.
I don't think I ever
Get
will.
over it.
I don't think I ever will.
Okay.
Well, a new Star Wars droid was seen roaming around Tomorrowland over at Disneyland. JK-43, or Jake, was last seen inside the launch bay in Tomorrowland until this past week, where he was roaming the streets of Tomorrow. He was beeping and making a vroom sound whenever guests got in his way. Little test of Star Wars land to see.
Living character.
To be type of deal. So he was in the launch bay for a little bit when it first opened up. But it was very rare appearances, like once in a blue moon type of deal. But now he was roaming around Tomorrowland. I don't know if this will be a daily thing.
Or just a test.
Or just kind of a test, or kind of a slight preview of something to come. But he looks really good.
Yeah, I saw the video.
And he doesn't really talk with people, which I was kind of disappointed by.
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe he'd be a push replacement type, but
definitely not.
No.
But it does make me curious to see how many of these types of droids we will be seeing in Tomorrowland. Like, will we be seeing these kind of like weird, don't really have a purpose type droids, or will we be seeing more like astromech droids or BB? Can we see some BB units rolling around?
Maybe.
Because, the company is up here in Boulder, and we know that they built actual BB-8s for the movies and full-size stuff and fully functioning ones. So
maybe.
That'd be a cool thing if we could see those ever.
I wish they'd just bring Wally back.
That was so cool.
I know.
Did you ever see, who's the dinosaur? Dino...
It had a name.
Was it Lucky? I think it was Lucky. That was cool. That was like the first one that they ever really did.
Which it was ridiculous when you look at that cart.
Yeah.
You could tell they were really. It was first generation. For
It was
sure.
a struggle.
I watched it really good, and I wish I remember. Maybe I can find it later and we can put it in the show notes. But somebody's YouTube channel, they did like a short documentary kind of thing on the Living Character Initiative, which Disney initiated with Lucky.
With Lucky, and
then Push came out of that, and Ratatouille was there for a while.
There was a recycling bin over in Animal Kingdom. I forget the name of that.
Kind of like Push, but yeah.
And then the Muppets Mobile Lab and WALL-E.
And whatever the recent one was that was in roaming around Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom for a while.
Oh yeah, that guy, whatever his name was. But that's not so. And I guess Divine would fall into that as well.
Yeah, there was this one other one that they were throwing in there that I didn't think of too. But it was a good. If I can find it, I'll throw it in the show notes.
Yeah, you definitely should.
It was good.
I'd watch that. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Well, Disney World just announced an Ultimate Disney Christmas package for families. The offer includes a stay at select Disney resorts from December 21st through the 26th, and includes tickets to Mickey's Very Merry on December 21st, exclusive nighttime access to Pandora on the 22nd, an exclusive holiday character experience at Hollywood Studios on the 23rd, and exclusive Christmas Eve dinner celebration over at Epcot on the 24th, plus a special holiday gift delivered to your hotel room on December 25th. The package features a 5-night stay at select Disney Moderate, Deluxe, or Deluxe Villa Resort hotels, plus 4-day park hopper tickets, and it starts at $139 per person per night.
That's not bad.
No. Which
Wow.
means a family of 4, if you're staying at a moderate, which I think the main example they gave was Coronado Springs, was around $2,200
for that package.
Yeah, for that
that's not
package. For Christmas time? That's not bad at all.
No,
That's crazy.
that's a good deal.
I would be jumping on this soon.
Yeah, because
If
the moderate one's gonna sell out. That's
They're gone.
yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, Run Disney has canceled all 2018 events over at Disneyland due to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge construction. No word on whether or not this will affect Run Disney events at other resorts, mainly Walt Disney World, yet. However, they did say that Run Disney events will be running at other resorts.
Wow. Welcome to the Pun Podcast. I'm RJ, joined by Court over here.
The Pun Master.
Jeez.
Pun Master Court.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't think the construction would be that bad, but I guess it is a big chunk of the park.
It's 14 acres.
Yeah.
That's not including all the backstage area that they take up right now for all of the construction. And I mean, the Rivers of America recently opened up, so they're not using any of that space anymore. The railroad just reopened up, so they can't use any of that space to store any equipment anymore.
Yeah.
You know, from a guy who does work slightly in construction, kind of understand the amount of space that it takes to store even the minimal amount of tools that we use.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So, for what they're doing, you know, I think it's okay to not have a Tinkerbell trot or a Star Wars half 5K, half marathon, and then a Scare-a-thon or something like that, whatever they call them. I think it's okay to have a few of those events because we're getting Star Wars.
True.
Let's be honest here. Well, guests riding Star Tours will soon be able to visit Crate from The Last Jedi, starting on November 17th over at Disneyland and Disney World, and November 22nd for Disneyland Paris, and December 15th for Tokyo Disneyland guests. Guests will find themselves on Crate, a new planet from The Last Jedi, on every Star Tours flight.
Yeah.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. We hope you enjoyed your visit to Crate. So they did the same thing with The Force Awakens and Jakku, which that was really cool. I don't know if you ever got to experience that.
I did not.
I think it's still in the loop right now.
I always end up on Coruscant.
Oh, Coruscant's so cool, though.
And the other desert one.
Tatooine. Wow,
Every
good
time.
thing you're not doing a Star Wars podcast.
The pod race scene. I do the pod race scene and then go to Coruscant, and that's it.
Well, what's the third one then? You go to 3 planets, or you do 3.
I've always gotten
do you chase
those
the Millennium
two,
Falcon?
and then no.
Do you have Darth Vader coming out in front of you?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I can't remember what, but a couple times we rode it in World. It was always Coruscant and Tatooine.
Yeah.
And it was and then some other random third one, but never as.
I think they did a really good job with Jakku.
Did they?
Like it was sweet.
It'd be interesting to see Crate. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the second trailer for The Last Jedi.
Are you going in cold?
Going in cold from
Alright.
here on out, from then on out. So I've only seen the one little snippet of like the quasi pod race looking thing. So maybe it'll be another pod race
We'll see,
because Star Wars likes to repeat itself. Well, the last bit of news I think might bring a little bit of discussion. SeaWorld has announced that they will be laying off 350 employees to focus more on attractions and marketing in 2018. The layoffs will take place by the end of the fourth quarter and will mostly affect administrative positions at the Orlando and San Diego parks.
Interesting.
SeaWorld is just...
Was it last week we talked about SeaWorld
We did.
in the news a little bit?
Yeah, we talked about them. We talked about Legoland a little bit more, though.
Well, because
Last
Legoland, there was rumor
Legoland wanted to buy
Bush from SeaWorld.
and SeaWorld's like, nah, you either get all of us or none of us. So I wonder if SeaWorld continues on this downward spiral, if they will actually accept Legoland's offer.
to buy just Bush.
Yeah. Because if they're
I don't know, 'cause
sponging for cash that bad.
At the same time, cutting off your nose to spite your face or whatever,
Yeah.
It's yeah, you walk away with $1 billion from a deal with Legoland to buy Bush, and then you still have SeaWorld going down the tubes.
At this
Does it
point,
really? Are you really saving anything at that point? Because then you're just throwing away that $1 billion as you try to prop up SeaWorld for the next how many ever years.
But at this point, I don't think SeaWorld can really recover. It's been so long and so many years of a downward spiral.
No, I agree. I don't think there's.
And
a
it
recovery,
hasn't just been
yeah.
a slight downward trend. No, it's been a full drop off.
Yeah.
They've seen like massive 15, 20% decrease annually in attendance. I think this last year was only 13%, but still, they opened several new rides.
Yeah.
They opened the tallest and fastest roller coaster in Orlando, in Central Florida, and that didn't help them much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like their focus on attractions and marketing, if they can rebrand themselves as not an aquatic park,
Not Blackfish.
good luck.
Yeah.
good luck with
Your
that.
name is literally SeaWorld.
and
yeah.
your logo is an orca.
I know.
It's not gonna happen. I think
It's just interesting that we talked about it last week, and I mean, we kind of talked about the effects that we saw maybe of Blackfish or whatever, but I don't know.
It's so far-reaching at this point, and I don't think they can recover. It's going to be a struggle if they can even get into the positive growth again for a year.
Yeah. Because once you go down that much, it's hard to.
It's very hard to
even
jump
taper
back
off.
up.
Even taper off. Yeah.
However, it does. Learning all of these attendance drops, it kind of makes me want to go visit SeaWorld, just so that I can ride everything with little to no wait, because nobody's there.
That's true. The problem is if you're going to go to Orlando, you're not going to.
I mean, you could tack on one day to go to SeaWorld. You know, I
don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think we should do a whole big discussion on
SeaWorld discussion.
This is the second week in a row where we're talking for multiple minutes.
Maybe
here
we'll
about
be chit-chatting
SeaWorld.
about that next week.
Maybe we should.
Do you think this is the right move, though? To be laying off 350 employees to spend time and money and resources towards attractions, whether it's attractions development or attractions
It's an interesting move because you're either admitting that you were bloated before, because if you're able to lose 350 people and not need them, that means we're bloated employee-wise before, or you're admitting we have a problem, and that's what it feels like. It's very much like, okay, SeaWorld is actually admitting now they have a problem.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how, like, 350 people's salary. I guess maybe that works out to enough to do some more rebranding or marketing.
I would assume if it's administrative stuff, probably close to a couple million, maybe tens of millions of dollars. I don't know. If it's admin, probably think like close to $100K annually.
So times that 350.
So
for easy math,
yeah,
3.5
mil.
That's best estimate, really. You know,
it's a tiny coaster.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I don't know if this is I think they need to consider taking Legoland's offer, selling off
Busch,
and then they need to find a firm that wants to invest, kind of like with Elitch's, like the way Elitch's was at one point was owned by Six Flags, and then now it's owned by some other investment firm.
Literally nobody.
Find some firm that's willing to spend some money and truly rebrand it, maybe even move away from the word SeaWorld and come up with some new name for these parks.
Aquatic Land.
Yeah, I mean,
some oxymoron like that.
I mean, something that separates it and get rid of the orca.
Yeah,
move towards attractions with water around them or whatever else you want to do, but not trying to build a.
I feel like the main reason SeaWorld's hanging on to Busch Gardens though is because it's the main profit over there. But the GP doesn't associate SeaWorld or Busch Gardens with SeaWorld.
No,
which is a whole nother discussion.
Plus, a lot of the bushes are in areas that aren't theme park heavy, because that's the thing you got to consider with.
That's true.
San Diego, maybe not as much because, I mean, yeah, Legoland's not too far away and Disneyland is not too far, but
Disneyland's
it's still
like
an
hour drive.
Hour or two, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're lucky.
But that's also Southern California. You have Magic Mountain and Knott's and,
Universal
and
countless roadside ones.
Yeah. So, and in Orlando, you have Universal, you have Walt Disney World, you have all these other side attractions, the Eye, all these other things.
Topgolf. You have everything on iDrive right there. Yeah. That's opening up and really starting to prove itself within the
Plus, there's other parks I can't even think of the names of them. There's several other like thrill parks or whatever, So, I don't know. I honestly wonder if it would be worth them just saying, "Here you go, Legoland. Take Busch, and we're done."
And just close up shop.
Sell the land itself's got to be worth some money. San Diego real estate's hot.
Orlando
real estate's hot.
Well, especially for that.
Presumably
area.
San Antonio real estate's hot.
I don't know.
Or let some other firm come in and take over and, like I said, move away from SeaWorld and move towards just truly an amusement park.
Aquatic World.
Yeah.
Aquatic Land.
Aquatica.
Oh, wait. That's already a thing.
Yeah.
Owned by SeaWorld.
I don't know if there's a solution. That's the hard part.
I just hate that this is what it's come to, is just SeaWorld laying off people to... I mean, it's understandable to completely rebrand everything. And
to try to save some money to spend it elsewhere, but...
I don't know if it'll work.
I don't think it will.
I think the GP, the General Public, is way too... has their mind way too set on Blackfish and can't remove SeaWorld from that. No. Even if SeaWorld removes their orcas and removes everything that is associated with that film, I don't think it's going to happen. I think
like we talked about last week too, I think there's a move away from captured animals in general, let alone
within the parks,
especially sea life.
Yes. But I don't know. I think we could be witnessing the downfall of a massive theme park corporation.
It's inevitable.
Really stinks,
right? I mean, how many other theme parks have closed in their lifetimes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but this is a whole corporation. Like Six Flags got real close at one point.
I know.
And then they went through a massive rebranding and just became Thrill, and that's what saved them. I think at one point they even filed. I think at one point they even filed bankruptcy.
Chapter 11 or whatever. Yeah.
So if SeaWorld can find that rebranding and just do like water themed attractions, like you said, with like some aquarium stuff thrown in, and not have the main focus be on animals doing tricks, aquatic animals doing tricks, I think it will. I think that would be their only way to kind of salvage it.
Yeah.
Because like Busch Gardens, when I think of Busch Gardens, I think of attractions and not
and you
the animals.
Forget that they have animals around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes out of SeaWorld. Fingers crossed they stick around, because the more competition, the better.
I know.
Especially in this industry.
I'd imagine somebody will fill the void left by them at some point.
I hope so.
Especially in those areas.
Well, best of luck to you, SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And that concludes this week's news.
All right. Thanks for subscribing. Check us out on YouTube if you don't already know. Instagram, all that other stuff. Unmistakably Magic.
Search us, you'll find us.
Thanks for listening to the news.